Good day. Good day to everyone out there, wherever you are. Georgia, Peru, Bermuda, the whole nine. Doesn't matter to me much. Talk about a little bit of polarization. Polarization is when somebody's charged one way versus the other. And everyone has a charge. Everything has a charge. Everything electrical has a charge. With electrons, you're going to be charged positively and negatively. In this case, it's not more so are you thinking good or thinking bad. Positives and negatives. In this case, it's just different charges. More electrical current than less electrical current. But polarization, ultimately, when we're talking about it, we're talking about the mental and mentally being charged one way than the other. Having that idea is a different ways to be polarized. An example, if you don't know from the start key, you don't know what polarization is, then I think the first thing you should start thinking about is being charged on the surface. And if you're charged on the surface polarized one way, then that just means you're ultimately polarized. I mean, polarized is like a Republican versus Democrat. You like one thing, you don't like the other. Everything has an opposite. Everything has a polar opposite. If you put something on comparison, you're going to say, this is one way. Then you got to always have, if it's one way, then you got to have the opposite way. If one thing has an opposite, like on and off, hot and cold, black and white, anything like that, then you got polarization, Republican, Democrat. Something with an opposite, that's the polarization. And polarization is when you choose one side and hate the other side. It almost instantly makes you think against the other side. When in reality, to be depolarized, you got to understand that you can't hate the other side. You have to understand where the other side is coming from, because they have a side, and they more than likely have a reason for thinking that way. So if you do know that much, then you can depolarize yourself to the extent to understand and empathize why they think that way. And then you got to bring in why you think that way if you are against them. So if you mix all that into a pot, then maybe you guys can come to a common ground somewhere and then depolarize each other. And that's just depolarization. But we're talking about polarization. So you got to understand why you think one way versus the other. So if you are on, then you're going to probably hate everyone that's off. If you are black, then you're probably going to hate everyone that's white. If you are one, then you're going to probably hate everyone that's a zero. Can't use hate, though. You got to understand that everyone just on and off, polarized and depolarized. Got my guy Eli coming in. We finna get on this 2K. We finna bust some ass. Yeah, heard, man. I ain't seen you in